All right, sorry. Chairman Business, what is the conclusion of this matter?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you gave us an assignment to come up with the number of bills outstanding that Senate is yet to concur. We have 69 of our bills awaiting concurrence by the Senate. They have concurred with 17 of our bills. We have concurred with 14 of their bills. So what is outstanding, the information that is still not complete, is how many of Senate bills with us that are awaiting concurrence. Once we get the statistics, we'll have a complete picture, sir.
Yeah. Okay, I agree. We'll step that matter down until we get a full picture of the numbers. Thank you. I'll step down. The third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture. So this is the same, this is going to fall on the same sword. Step down.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Samfulata. I represent the Niwa Krika Sama Agri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that the third item on the order paper is stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Bill step down. Fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the National Agency for Albinism and Hypopigmentation and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Jude Isei-Dehen. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 12 February 2021, and I invite Honorable Isei-Dehen to move that the bill be now read a second time.
Jude Isei-Dehen, representing Ego Ikobaka Federal Constituency. I'm from Edo State. Well, Mr. Speaker, I would like to withdraw this bill because I just discovered that they have a commission already and it will be in conflict having a commission.
Upon better information, Honorable Dehen is withdrawing the bill. Bill withdrawn. The fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Health Sciences, Ijebu-Ode, to make comprehensive provisions for its due administration and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Kolakpo Korede Osunsanya. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 7th July 2021, and I invite Honorable Osunsanya to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Kolakpo Korede Osunsanya, representing the good people of Ijebu-Ode, Otogbolu, and Ijebu Northeast. I am from Ogun State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move for a bill to be read for the second time, a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Health Sciences, Ijebu-Ode, provide a comprehensive provisions for its due administration and related matters, Mr. Speaker. Right Honorable and Honorable colleagues, I stand before you today with a deep sense of responsibility and humility to solicit for your support for the passage of the bill of an act to establish Federal University of Health Sciences, Ijebu-Ode, provide a comprehensive provisions for its due administration and related matters.
Okay, well, let's quickly second the matter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable members, Ibrahim Ayokunle Isaka is my name. I represent the very good people of Ifo, Iwekuro Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ogun State. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to second the motion on the bill for an act to establish Federal University of Health Sciences, Ijebu-Ode, to make comprehensive provision for its due administration and for other.
Yeah, go ahead, Honorable Shismaya. From where you left off, go ahead.
There are various global health challenges that we are facing today that requires the strengthening of our health sector as a nation. Nations are yet to recover from the impact of COVID-19, among others. Hence, the need to have this specialized university that will train and produce or reproduce high-quality healthcare professionals that will contribute to the development of the health sectors in Nigeria through the teaching and research of medical and health sciences in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, the bill is divided into 5 parts. Part 1, sections 1 to 4, establishment of the university, objects of the university, membership and functions. The segment 2, which is the part 2, sections 5 to 14, establishment and membership of the council and officers of the university. Mr. Speaker, part 3, sections 15 to 27, authority of the university, the Senate, its powers and duties, university, budget, audit, and accounts. Mr. Speaker, part 5, which reads the sections 31 to 36 on miscellaneous, which includes discipline and appeals, regulations, interpretation, and citations. Right Honorable Speaker and my respected colleagues, the need to establish the Federal University of Health Sciences in my hometown in Ijebu-Ode cannot be overemphasized. Apart from ensuring that our youths are off streets, it will strengthen our health systems, enhance professionalism. I therefore solicit it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. The 6th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an app. Clerk. If you draw.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Health Sciences, Ijebu-Ode, to make comprehensive provisions for its due administration and for related matters. Second reading.
Referred to the Committee on Health Institutions. The 6th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend Pension Reform Act 2014 to provide for the exemption of the Nigerian police force from the contributory pension scheme and for related matters standing in the name of Honorable Francis Wave. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 13 September 2021, and I invite Honorable Wade to move that the bill be now read a second time.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Francis Ejirogane Waive is my name, and I represent the entire people of Ugele North, Ugele South, and Udu. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Delta State. I rise to move for the second reading of a bill for an act to amend the Pension Reform Act 2014 to provide for the exemption of the Nigerian police from the contributory pension scheme and for related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Dike. What was that? Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have to be a pan-Nigeria. That is what we expect now. So, Mr. Speaker, Thank you. I am Honorable Ben Roland Sigbakwa. I represent Ethiop East, Ethiop West. By the special grace of God, we are from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion for the bill to be read a second time, ably moved by my dear brother. I beg to second.
Honorable Sof. Honorable Nnamobi.
Yes, Honorable.
Honorable Nnamobi, you are not taking permission.
Honorable, wait. Very quickly, lead your debate.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, Francis A. Jirogane Waive is my name, and I represent the entire people of Ugele North, Ugele South, and Udu. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Delta State. A bill for an act to amend the Pension Reform Act 2014 to provide for the exemption of the Nigerian police from contributory pension scheme and related matters. Mr. Speaker, it's my honor to lead this debate on the proposed amendment to the Pension Reform Act of 2014 to provide for the exemption of members of the Nigerian Police Force from the contributory pension scheme. This bill seeks to amend Section 5, subsection 1, paragraph A of the Pension Reform Act of 2014 to include the Nigerian police among those categories of services personnel that are not part of the Contributory Pension Act, like the Armed Forces, the DSS, the intelligence agencies are not part of the Contributory Pension Act. When the Nigerian police was brought under this act, the aim was to ensure that they get enhanced welfare, both while they are serving and at retirement. But Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this has not been the case. In other climes where there's a contributory pension scheme, like in Chile, for example, the police force, just like other military forces, are not part of the contributory pension scheme. I want to plead, honorable colleagues, that you support this exception because the duties performed by the police, especially at this time of security challenges in our country, are enormous. And one way to encourage officers and men of the force to put in their best is to make sure that they are exempted from this contributory scheme. Let me give an example of the effect of the contributory scheme on the police. An assistant superintendent of police, for example, gets 1.5 million, whereas his counterparts in the military, the intelligence services that are not in the scheme, get much more than that, 12.8 his counterpart gets at retirement. But the worst thing is that even at retirement, the police still don't get this meager sum under the contributory scheme. So we have officers who leave and then they begin to suffer. Even the monthly pay is very low for the officers who are retired. As we speak, there are cries everywhere. I plead with the Honorable Speaker and members of this House to please give this bill your support so that it can pass for a second reading and members of our force, police force, will be encouraged to provide best services to our people, the good people of Nigeria. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, honorable colleagues.
Honorable Isiaka. Isiaka, are you speaking for? Is there anybody that wants to speak again? Okay, Honorable Isiaka, go ahead. Go ahead, Honorable Isiaka. 1 minute. Members are eager to move on. I think it's a straightforward.
See, I want to throw more pathetic situation about this police. I have the table here. So that there's nothing to argue about, we need to pass this bill.
Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm only moved. Isiaka Ibrahim, I will not expose him. For Iwekoro Federal Constituency. I'm very sorry that I'm just coming in on the bill because it would have even been a joint bill I've gotten so many literature on the same bill to buttress what my distinguished honorable member had just raised on the floor of this House. The pathetic situation of our Nigerian police officers after retirement. It is on record, Mr. Speaker, that an inspector from 700,000 to 1 million gets 15,000 naira after.
Honorable Koko, please approach the chair.
After 35 years of service. A CSP on 2.1 million gets 42,000 naira after 35 years of service. That's what he gets at the end of the month. Mr. Speaker, on this same table, a DIG gets 89,000 naira at the end of the month. Mr. Speaker, it has been trending on social media that all policemen, irrespective of their ranks, have been clamoring and begging the National Assembly to come to their aid on how, like yesterday, they should be removed from this bondage. Distinguished honorable members, there is no better time than this period for us to support this very all-important bill and see its immediate passage and then get this reviewed. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
We're going to take just 2-3. So many people want to talk, and I think it's important we allow members to, but we'll just take 2-3 so that we can move on. Your mic. Your mic. Put on your mic. You had your hand on. Put on your mic so that I can call you, so I can rather activate your mic. I think Honorable Johnson wanted to speak. Honorable Banikoro, why did you change your seat? Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, the press, clerk, good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Speaker, I was going to rise to second the motion heavily moved by Honorable Francis, and I noticed that Rep. Isiaka had done so. That's how I was raising my answer. So I support the bill ably moved by Rep. Francis to the policemen.
Yeah.
That I think our policemen deserve attention, and they need to write bill, and I support as.
Uzoma Nkem. Because I want to talk on the general principle on bills. It does appear that this pension reform is of no use. From the argument and from what we feel is like the pension reform is worthless and useless. If I quote him, he said it has brought unbearable and regrettable consequences for police officers. Therefore, he seeks to extricate police from the pension reform. Very good. But are we going to extricate everybody? Or are we now supposed to look at ways and remedying the pension reform? Why will a police officer be getting 15,000? The equivalent in the army will be getting 180. That's discriminatory. Why? Is it because certain things we are giving to? The question I want to ask, is it the same thing for a teacher and the police? Or is it that the military were singled out for that preference? in my own mind, it's good to save police, but are we going to save police alone and allow the doctors and teachers to die? They will also come now to say, extricate police from pension reform, teachers from pension reform. I think now that the pension reform is the problem itself. Are we going to treat it like segmentally and not all? If pension reform or whatever does not favor police, what can we do to say it favors everybody? It's a cause, Mr. Speaker, for you to serve your nation, only to die in penury. That is why when we talk about corruption, Mr. Speaker, if you don't know how your beautiful wife will look like when she's old, you look at your mother-in-law. So if you work and you die, you look at those who retired. Hunger is killing them. People are tempted to go and steal now and keep for rainy days. That's the issue. So what do we do? I agree that you should pass the second reading, but at that committee they should look at not only police suffering, all those suffering. What do we do to remedy it? So people, not only the amount they get, they don't get it on time. In some cases, they use pension and gratuity to do funerals for the people. It's unfair. Therefore, I agree it should pass, but let us look at holistically what can be done for that segment. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. Abonta has spoken in favor. We'll move on to... Yeah, he said that it should go to second reading. That's in favor. Honorable Kiruka.
You refuse now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka Onye Georgia. I represent the good people of Iskwatu Mudut Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, this is a very straightforward piece of legislation. But before I go on, I have to ask my brother that if anybody wishes to amend the pension fund, contributed to the pension scheme.
Honorable Ado, is he here? Okay.
I'm just saying that if anybody wants to amend the police, contributory pension scheme, the person can go ahead. But what we are talking about here today is that it is long overdue that our policemen should be treated with dignity. It's unacceptable that a deputy superintendent of police will be getting 1.5 million naira as pension, and his counterpart in army, like a captain, will be getting 12.8 million naira in the same country. It's unacceptable. No matter the way you look at it, this is one piece of legislation that we should have done like yesterday. And so I do not want to believe that at this particular time the police will be treated differently from DSS, from military, because they do the same work. It's about protection of lives and property. Even the police are the people who are more on the ground with us. So I believe that this one piece of legislation that all of us should be given an urgent attention. And I don't think that we have to be sentimental about this, because honestly speaking, when I was coming this morning, you saw what was happening at the gate. You can't accept that these people were men who have served this country. And so I believe that this is one bill that we must part with.
All right.
I support it and do.
Thank you, Honorable Koko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. My friend, Honorable Honorable Francis, you have done something that no any other member have did it on this new legislative year we just started. Honestly, I'm a typical example of this act or the exemption of the police officers from the contributive pension scheme should even look at. I'm a typical example. The reason why I say that is I retired as a CSP. I've been telling, everybody knows. But if I tell you what I collect as my pension monthly, as a CSP, Colonel equivalent, I collect 23,000 naira, Mr. Speaker. 23,000 naira after serving 15 years diligently. But sir, when you look at a colonel in the army, or you look at in the DSS, or any other services, the difference is clear. Mr. Speaker, I have to add my voice because of the experience. What I saw yesterday in Kaduna on television. Police officer that served 35 years. When you're looking wretched, Mr. Speaker, looking wretched. That's one woman that even said she has dependent, her old mother, her old father, they're still alive, but they're not even valuing her because you say, why do you go to the police? Why do you serve this country 35 years? You cannot even help us to eat food after your service. The reason why is contributive pension scheme. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I urge you, please, for the sake of God, for the sake of this country, for the sake of the security we are yearning every day, every night, every hour in this chamber, to assist police officers who are living, to assist police officers who are serving this country diligently. I spoke with IT last 2 weeks. The former IG, sir, is collecting 200,000 naira pension. Former IG, sir. But when you look at the other service chiefs, I don't know but I know they collect better than him. So I ask this colleague, my colleague, to please allow this to go for the second reading and pass it. Thank you very much.
Honorable Osai. Yeah, you just came. They've been.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. Thank you for your protections and love for recognizing me. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I rise to support this bill. Laudable. And I want to commend the honorable member from Ueli, a federal constituency, for the thought of bringing this great bill to protect those of them that have served us. In the course of, Mr. Speaker, extra authority should be given to the committee that is going for public hearing to hear the expert advice. And that extra authority shall be a part of the resolution given to the committee to look into that if any other stakeholder that are part and parcel of this contributory pension scheme deem fit and appear before the committee, that they as a group also want to exit because they have not seen anything beneficiary to that, they should also be incorporated in going forward. But I support this bill wholeheartedly, and I ask every one of us to give light to this bill.
Okay, so we'll take Honorable Mongono and Honorable Toby, and then we'll move on.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Mongono. I represent Marte Mongono, Ganzai Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I fully associate myself with all the submissions of those who spoke in support of this bill and adopt same as mine, and wish to further add that the primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and property. And the sole responsibility of the Nigerian police, as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is to protect lives and property, to guarantee security, so that all of us will sleep with our two eyes closed. While the military is charged with the responsibility of protecting the territorial integrity of this country. So if the military is going to enjoy a pension that is higher in quantum to the police, then mutatis mutandis, those privileges that is enjoyed by the military, that is charged with the responsibility of defending our own territorial integrity, should be enjoyed by the police who is charged constitutionally for the protection of lives and property in the country. So based on these two constitutional provisions, having regard to the duties assigned to them by the Constitution, the police should also enjoy a pension that is higher in quantum as compared to the military. And this can be done by removing them from the contributory pension scheme. So I wholeheartedly support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Honorable Toby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Toby Okechukwu, and I represent an area of Woji River Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this bill to amend the Pension Reform Act so that we can provide for the exemption of Nigerian police. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I think this bill is good to the point because it addresses the point which Parliament should do to actually interrogate, review our legislation from time to time. If there are imperfections, we should be in a position to cure them and not to create another. So from my brief, it is simple and necessary that we review the Pension Reform Act. I will support that this bill goes for second reading. Essentially, because people in allied military services enjoy that opportunity of being exempted from the bill, from the act. When people make a voluntary offer to sacrifice their life for their country, whatever is necessary to be done has to be done. The country should be able to sacrifice whatever is required for those servicemen. And we cannot be seen to put our policemen in jeopardy. I understand my friend's argument, Honorable Koko, but I would think that we are not, it's good that he made that disclosure, that if the reform takes place, that he will be a beneficiary, but we are not doing it for him. We are not doing it for our friend. We are doing it for those people who have been experiencing all manner of hazards. And to see your contemporaries enjoy different scheme, and you are not doing it, it demoralizes. But I would also think that the Pension Reform Act should be made to work. And this is an opportunity for it to be reviewed. They should be able to interrogate other things in the act to make it much more efficient and to work for people who work for the benefit of all of us. Thank you very much.
Well, let's put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk?
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Pension Reform Act 2014 to provide for exemption of the Nigeria Police Force from the contributory pension scheme and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Pensions. Honorable colleagues, we had a bill here for an act to establish the National Industrial Park development, which was referred to the Committee on Science and Technology. That was an error. It's supposed to go to the Committee on Industry. So, Clerk, please take note. Seventh order of the day is motion on urgent need for provision of food and related matters to victims of insurgency in Isa Sabon Bernie Federal Constituency, Sokoto State, standing in the name of Honorable Mohammed Saidu Bagaje. Honorable Bagaje is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My respected honorable colleague, my name is Honorable Bargaja, the Shatima of Gobir, member representing good people of Isa and South Bend Federal Constituency. I'm from Sokoto State. Urgent need to provide the food and relief materials to victims of insurgency in Isa and South Bend Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, note that the victims of banditry attack in over 30 villages in Isa and Samru constituency of Sokoto State, displaced to various locations within the neighboring towns and the state, have started returning to their homes and villages, given a fear for improvement in the security situation in the area. Note also that at the moment, the result of improvement the security situation, the inhabitants of Gazo, Tuze, Modachi, so many villages like that, all in Isa local government, and others at Gedam Buta, Kalage, Ara, Garin Idi, and others in Sambin local government, all in Isa and Sambin Federal Constituency. Concerns that due to unavailability of food, shelter, farmland, and business premises, which were destroyed by the insurgency, the returning in Isa and Southern Federal Constituency are living in the abject poverty and suffering untold hardship, which could be continued if urgent intervention is not provided by the appropriate authorities. Resolve, all the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, and National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide the food and other basic necessities to the people of Isa and Sambin Federal Constituency who has returned to their home after being displaced by the insurgencies. 2, also all the National Commission of Refugees, Migrant, Internally displaced persons to provide the necessary assistance to the victims. 3, mandates the Committee of Internally displaced persons, refugees, emergency and disaster preparedness to ensure compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any seconder? Rafael?
Mr. Speaker, fellow honorable members, I remain Honorable High Chief Ife Afe, member representing the good people of Okpe, Sapele, and Ubia Federal Constituency of Delta State, a pure Delta. Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion as moved by my honorable member for Sokoto State. I beg to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Bagaja, I think your motion is very straightforward. Or do you want to debate it? So I will just put the question. Okay, there's an amendment. Okay. Honorable Karambari has an amendment. One second. Sorry.
I remain Honorable Ahmad Abdullah Kalambena, Kadonan Kalambaina, and I represent Kwari Wamako Federal Constituency of Sokoto State.
Oh, no.
Bagaja is that Dangishuni, Tureta, Kangaza, Elela, Gudu, Goranyo be included in this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder to the amendment? Zona Ujaga, please.
Colleagues, I'm Mohammed Umar Jaga, representing Ali Rugondo Jaga Federal Constituency. I rise to second the amendment as ably moved by my honorable colleagues. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Party, Yola South Local Government Area of Adamawa State, standing in the name of Honorable Jafar Suleiman Ribadu. Honorable Ribadu is invited to move the motion.
I am from Adamawa State. Need to relocate Yola Correctional Center for Modibo Adamawa, Yola South Local Government Area, to the permanent site in Yola Party in same Yola South Local Government Area of Adamawa State. The house not done. Nigerian Prison Service, Yola, now known as Correctional Center, was established in 1914. To rehabilitate inmates and facilitate their training for eventual reintegration into the society. The House also notes that Correctional Center has capacity accommodation of 500 inmates, but currently is accommodating over 1,000 inmates, which represent an excess of over 200%, thus overstretching the facility in the center, thereby exposing the inmate to infectious diseases, especially under COVID-19 pandemic. The House informed that a new correctional center of 1,000 inmate capacity was built in Yoldepate, Yola South Local Government, in an area that is strategic, and the center is equipped with standard and modern facilities and quarters for the personnel of the center. The House aware that all correctional centers in Yola town for the residents and visitors of Yola, due to the frequent roadblock, especially in terms of rampage by inmates or anticipated attack by insurgents. The House also aware that the sewage system is directly connected to Yola South Central Mosque, Yola South Local Government Headquarters, and the Palace of Lamido of Adamawa, which exposes the resident to the health hazard, especially in an event of epidemic outbreak, given the proximity and drainage leakages. Regret that the conveniences and peace of residents of Yola still continue to be disturbed as long as the correctional center is not urgently relocated to its permanent site. The House resolved to: 1. Call on the federal government to relocate the correctional center from its present location at Modibo Adamawe, Yola Town, to its new at Old Departe, Yola Town. Urge the Controller General of the Correctional Center to stop the 9 p.m. closure of the main Yola due to location of the center. 3. Mandate the Committee on Reformatory Institution to conduct verification visit to Yola Correctional Center, and report within 4 weeks for the legislative action. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyotush Milifera constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion moved by Honorable Jafaru Ribadu. I so second.
Straightforward infrastructure, I believe. All right, those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The ninth order of the day is a motion on the need to enforce compulsory teaching of moral lessons and orientation subjects and courses in Nigeria's educational curricula. Standing in the name of Honorable Uju Kingsley. Honorable Uju is invited to move the motion. Is Honorable Uju here? That was moral.
Mr. Speaker, it seems Honorable Uju Kingsley is not on the floor. I move that the motion be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
10th order, motion step down. 10th order of the day is a motion on the urgent need to address the failing or the falling standard of education in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Ganiu Abiodun Johnson. Honorable Johnson is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Ganiu Abiodun Johnson. I represent the good people of Oshodi Sol of Federal Constituency 2. I rise to move the motion on urgent need to address the falling standard of education in Nigeria. The House knows that quality education is a crucial tool for economic growth of any country. Thus, goal number 4 of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is focused on ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. Also note that Section 18 of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, provides that the government shall direct its policy towards ensuring that there are equal and adequate educational opportunities at all levels. Aware that the Nigerian education system within the last decade has been on a steady decline, ranging from influx of illegal institutions of learning, as well as unqualified teachers in the system, to poor funding, overcrowding, and plethora of decaying infrastructure in schools across the Federation. Also aware that according to the United Nations, Nigeria has one of the largest populations of out-of-school youth in the world, with more than 10 million Nigerian children, 60% of them girls, not in school, and will therefore not have any skills, will therefore not have the skills they need to get jobs and build secured and stable future. Recall that the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, reports that for a nation to achieve the goal of providing quality education for all by 2030, the country will have to allocate at least 20% of its national budget to education. However, Nigeria's budget allocation for education in the last 5 years are 7.38% in 2017, 7.03% in 2018, 7.05% in 2019, and 6.7% in 2020, and 5.6% in 2021. A far cry from the expected standards. Acknowledge that Nigeria has achieved some progress in expanding access to school under the Millennium Development Goals and the Domestic Universal Basic Education Scheme. However, the expansion has not resulted in improved learning, as the flat learning curve in Nigeria is a proof that getting children to school does not automatically translate to quality infrastructure, qualified teachers, conducive learning environment, frequent attendance, grade progression, effective classroom governance, and more importantly, learning. Concerned that the adverse effect of falling standard of education is to a nation is a very grave, and the fall in educational standard in Nigeria implies a continued decline in its level of economic growth. Also concerned that with the current population of 200 million, 45% of which are below 15 years, there is high demand for learning opportunities, translating into increased enrollment, which has created challenges in ensuring quality education since resources are spread more thinly. Worried that the burden on education in Nigeria has become even more overwhelming, resulting in more than 100 pupils to a teacher, as against the UNESCO benchmark of 35 pupils per teacher, culminating in students learning under trees for lack of classrooms and other harsh conditions. Cognizance that if no urgent action is taken, the problem will gravely affect the young and future generations, as well as stifle economic and social development prospects of the country. The House resolved to urge the Federal Ministry of Budget and National Planning to give further considerations to education in the subsequent budgetary allocation in order to attain UNESCO projection by 2030. Mandate the committees on tertiary education and services, basic education and services, youth development and appropriations,
Halims.
Distinguished honorable colleagues, I remain honorable.
Well, nobody seconded you just went straight into. Okay, no, you want to second it now. Okay.
Yes, that's
go ahead.
exactly what I want.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Abdullah Ibrahim Halims. I am from Kogi State. I represent the good people of Ankpa, Omala, Olamboro Federal Constituency. I rise to support the motion as ably moved by Engineer Honorable Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For the question. Those in support, please say aye. I'm sure Honorable Johnson, you're okay, right? Or you want to, well, you're okay, we can just put the question. Yeah, those against me say nay. Ayes have it. You're welcome. Consideration of reports, the 11th order of the day is consideration of report of the Committee on Finance. Okay, I believe we stepped that. Go ahead.
It has been stepped down already.
Yeah. No, Darlington is needed. I think we have a supplementary. The report of the Committee on Customs, are we stepping that down?
Yeah, Honorable Lekki has approached me that he would like to step it down for another day.
For other consultation, okay. Step down. So I guess we can just move for the deputy leader. No, deputy leader. You need to move to dissolve the committee of the whole before DS comes to take it. We are going to committee of the whole. Oh, we even have committee of supply as well. Oh. The 12th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of a specialized national dermatology hospital, Grakida Management Board for the hospital, provide dermatological treatment, research and training, and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, 13th July. The leader will move for its consideration.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, in line with our earlier decision on all Senate bills, I move that item number 12 on the order of the paper be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
On the 12th, item 12, step down. 13th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to provide for a legal framework to establish Federal Medical Center, MOBI, and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 14th July. The leader will move for its consideration.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order. Who's that? Nabazao? What's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Shamsuddin Bello Dambazo. I represent Akaismela Federal Constituency from Kano State. I rise under Order 6, Rule 2 of the House, to note that this same bill has already been moved and it has passed third reading in the House, and a clean copy has been signed by the Speaker. And so I suggest that this is either we harmonize what was sent from the Senate, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Say that again. You said the same bill, what?
Mr. Speaker, sir, you've signed a clean copy of, it has passed third reading, and you've signed the clean copy of the bill, sir. And the same bill has been sent from the Senate.
The Senate?
So there's a conflict.
Okay, Chairman Business and
Honorable
Rules.
Jaffer,
Can you please look into this matter?
Sir?
You heard the point of order from, apparently the bill has passed. Is it the same one?
I think, but let us, I will step it down.
You step it down so that we can reconcile. So please see the Chairman Business and Rules.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
See the Chairman Business and Rules, Shamsuddin.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Speaker. I move that item number 13 on the order paper be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move.
Item number 13, step down. 14th order of the day is consideration of report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Technology, Auchi, in Edo State, and for related matters. Honorable members recall that the report was laid on Wednesday, 14th July. Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata will move for its consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Abubakar Safulata. I represent the Niwa Greek Asama Greek Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that the House do receive the report, do consider the report of the Conference Committee on Federal University of Technology, Auchi, Edo State. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Ningi, can you second, please? Honorable Abdullah Ningi.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir, my respected colleagues, I remain Abdullahi Saad Abdul Qadir representing Ningi Warji, Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. I hereby rise to second the motion moved for the report of the Conference Committee on the Federal University of Technology, Auchi, Edo State, by Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I so second.
Thank you very much. Those who support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. I believe the time to go to adjournment. Chairman. Time to go for adjournment.
No, sir, we have already moved that the report of the Conference Committee be considered at the Committee of the Whole, so we are moving that the House do resolve into committee of the whole to consider report.
I thought we said we were going to, just now we said we were going to skip
Yeah,
committee.
I spoke with the chairman of the committee of the whole, who
Okay.
said that since we have one outstanding report.
Oh,
we
okay,
should tell
okay,
you.
okay.
Yes, sir.
I was just going by what we had agreed. Okay, so, Deputy Leader. Please resolve that the House will move to the committee of the whole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my distinguished colleagues. I'm Comrade Peter Ohiozija, practicing MNI. I represent the great people of Akoko Edo Federal Constituency. I am from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do request to Committee of the Whole to consider report. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jaga.
My honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion that this House I rise to second the motion heavily moved by honorable colleagues. I so second, honorable Speaker.
Those in support, please say aye. Those in support, please say aye. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. House hereby dissolves committee of the whole.
Respected colleagues, I think we have some technical issues regarding the way the report was written or is written. So we have to step it down for them to rework on it before further consideration. Later.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues. We have observed some technical errors in the manner of the presentation of the bill. I move that we step consideration of this bill till further notice. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Till further notice?
To tomorrow.
It may sound too...
Or to Thursday. To Thursday.
Thank you.
Thursday, to Thursday.
Or you use for further legislative actions. And then we now know, yes, you return. Thank you.
Right, okay.
Leader, second.
Thank you, Chairman. I second the motion as moved by the Chairman House Committee, Rules and Business, to step down the consideration on this report. I so second, Mr. Chair.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader, move for the House to resolve to committee plenary to report progress. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the House do revert to plenary to report progress. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimli Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I second the motion moved by the party leader that will reverse back to plenary. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. House is hereby to report progress. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Conference Committee on the Bill for an Act to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Technology, Auchi, Edo State, and for related matters, and deferred further consideration of the report. Yes, Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I hereby move for the adoption of the report. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Report that was supposed to adopt?
Sorry?
Are you sure that that's the motion you're supposed to move for?
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure, sir. Before adjournment.
Thank you. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain again Honorable Ndudi.
11 a.m.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'm Comrade Peter Ohiozoje Akpatasin. I represent the great people of Akoko Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Edo State. I move that this House do adjourn to 22nd Wednesday by 11 a.m. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Leader.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimli Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion moved by the House Leader that this House do adjourn till tomorrow 11 a.m. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. House is hereby adjourned to tomorrow 11 a.m.